Dr. Cynric Vale stood at the edge of the excavation site, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The ancient city, long buried beneath the sands of time, had finally revealed itself to his team. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the desert landscape, Cynric couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of a discovery that would change everything. The team had been working tirelessly for months, following the trail of cryptic clues and whispered legends that led them to this remote corner of the world. Cynric's eyes drifted to Isadora Ravenscar, the team's ancient artifacts specialist, who was carefully examining a weathered stone tablet. Her brows furrowed in concentration as she traced her fingers over the intricate carvings, a glimmer of recognition sparking in her eyes. "Dr. Vale, I think you should see this," Isadora called out, her voice trembling slightly. Cynric approached, his curiosity piqued by the urgency in her tone. As he knelt beside her, Isadora pointed to a series of glyphs etched into the stone. These symbols, they speak of a gateway between worlds, a place where the veil between life and death is at its thinnest. Cynric's pulse quickened as he studied the ancient script, his mind racing with the implications of Isadora's discovery. If the legends were true, the Necropolis held secrets that could redefine their understanding of the afterlife and the very nature of existence itself. He glanced up at the darkening sky, a sense of unease settling over him like a shroud. As the team prepared to descend into the depths of the ancient city, Cynric couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The shadows seemed to flicker and dance, as if imbued with a malevolent presence. He shook his head, dismissing the thought as a trick of the fading light. Little did he know, the restless spirits of the Necropolis were already stirring, their whispers carried on the desert wind. The descent into the Necropolis was a journey into the heart of darkness itself. The team navigated narrow, winding passages, their headlamps casting eerie shadows on the ancient walls. Dr. Cynric Vale led the way, his eyes searching for any signs of the gateway mentioned in the stone tablet. The air grew colder and more oppressive with each step, as if the very essence of death was seeping into their bones. Isadora Ravenscar moved in close behind Cynric, her expertise in ancient artifacts guiding their path. She paused occasionally to examine the intricate murals and inscriptions that adorned the walls, her brow furrowed in concentration. "These images tell a story," she murmured, her voice echoing in the confined space. A story of a civilization obsessed with the afterlife and the dark rituals they performed to bridge the gap between worlds. As they ventured deeper into the Necropolis, the team began to experience strange phenomena. Whispers echoed from the shadows, the voices of the long dead calling out to them in forgotten tongues. Cynric felt a chill run down his spine as he swore he saw a flicker of movement in the corner of his eye. But when he turned to look, there was nothing there. The passage opened up into a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in the darkness above. In the center of the room stood an ancient altar, its surface stained with the remnants of long-forgotten sacrifices. Cynric approached the altar cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. As he drew closer, he saw that the altar was covered in the same cryptic glyphs they had seen on the stone tablet above. Isadora joined him at the altar, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. "The gateway," she breathed, her fingers hovering over the glyphs. "It's here, just as the tablet described." Cynric nodded, a sense of both excitement and dread washing over him. They were on the cusp of a discovery that could change the world, but at what cost? The altar began to glow with an eerie, pulsating light, the glyphs shimmering like stars in the darkness. Cynric and Isadora exchanged a glance, their eyes reflecting the otherworldly luminescence. They knew they were standing on the precipice of something profound, something that could alter the very fabric of reality. Isadora reached out, her trembling fingers tracing the glyphs on the altar's surface. As she did so, the chamber began to shake, the ancient stones groaning under the weight of an unseen force. Dust and debris rained down from the ceiling, and the team scrambled to find shelter amidst the chaos. A blinding light erupted from the altar, engulfing Cynric and Isadora in its radiance. They felt themselves being pulled forward, their bodies becoming weightless as they were drawn into the very heart of the gateway. The world around them dissolved, replaced by a swirling maelstrom of colors and shapes that defied comprehension. When the light faded, Cynric and Isadora found themselves in a realm beyond their wildest dreams. The sky above was a kaleidoscope of hues, the landscape a twisted mockery of the world they knew. Shapes shifted and changed before their eyes, and the air hummed with an energy that set their teeth on edge. In the distance, they saw a towering citadel, its spires reaching up to the impossible sky. It was a place of nightmares and wonders, a place where the rules of life and death held no sway. Cynric and Isadora looked at each other, their expressions a mix of awe and terror. They had crossed the threshold into the realm of the dead, and there was no turning back. As Cynric and Isadora approached the citadel, they felt the weight of countless eyes upon them. The spirits of the Necropolis, long trapped within this realm, watched their every move with a mixture of curiosity and malice. Whispers filled the air, the voices of the dead calling out to them, urging them to turn back before it was too late. The citadel's gates loomed before them, a massive portal of blackened stone that seemed to absorb the very light around it. Cynric reached out, his hand trembling as he pushed against the gates. To his surprise, they swung open with a heavy groan, revealing a cavernous hall filled with shadows and secrets. As they stepped inside, the gates slammed shut behind them, sealing them within the heart of the Necropolis. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the walls seemed to pulse with a sickly, otherworldly energy. Cynric and Isadora pressed on, their footsteps echoing in the oppressive silence. They found themselves in a vast chamber, its walls lined with towering statues of grotesque, twisted figures. At the center of the room stood a massive sarcophagus, its surface carved with intricate scenes of death and despair. Isadora approached the sarcophagus, her eyes wide with a mix of horror and fascination. As she reached out to touch the ancient stone, a voice filled the chamber, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "You have come seeking knowledge," it whispered, its tone as cold as the grave. "But knowledge comes at a price. Are you prepared to pay the cost, to glimpse the secrets that lie beyond the veil of death?" Cynric and Isadora exchanged a glance, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. They had come too far to turn back now, to abandon the secrets that lay just within their grasp. With a nod, Cynric stepped forward, his voice steady as he addressed the unseen presence. "We are prepared," he said, his words echoing in the cavernous chamber. "Show us what lies beyond the veil." The sarcophagus began to glow, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light. Slowly the lid began to slide open, revealing a swirling vortex of darkness and chaos. Cynric and Isadora felt themselves being pulled forward, their bodies drawn into the heart of the maelstrom. They found themselves in a realm of shadows and whispers, a place where the boundaries between life and death were blurred beyond recognition. Spectres of the long dead drifted past them, their faces contorted in expressions of agony and ecstasy. Cynric and Isadora pressed on, their minds reeling with the implications of what they were witnessing. At the center of the realm, they found a towering figure, a being of pure darkness and malevolence. It turned to face them, its eyes burning with an unholy light. "You have trespassed into my domain," it hissed, its voice a chorus of 1,000 tortured souls. "Now, you must pay the price for your transgression." Cynric and Isadora stood their ground, their hearts filled with a strange sense of calm in the face of the ultimate horror. They had come seeking knowledge, and they would not leave without it, no matter the cost. As the being of darkness descended upon them, they closed their eyes, ready to embrace whatever fate awaited them in the shadows of the Necropolis.